Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to our Be There for Baggett. I have to say, I'm sure many, and I've had many conversations, it's really wonderful to finally be together in person and see all your faces. I'm Lisa Terrazas. I'm the Volunteer and Event Coordinator, and I'm part of the entire Baggett team. We're very glad that you're here supporting us today. I have a few thank yous. First of all, I would love to thank Mary Carhoff. She did our meditation stretch session. That was wonderful. She did 2 sessions for our early risers at 7:15 and then the group at 8 o'clock. Little fact, Mary is one of the few people still coming every year to support this event. And prior to this, she did the meditation walk and take a hike. So we really, Mary, appreciate you for all you've done for Baggett throughout the years. Another thank you has to go out to our volunteers because, of course, we always need a handful of volunteers, not throughout the year, but to put on an event like this. Being a small staff, we need many hands. So to all the volunteers that are in the audience, thank you so much for any pre-events that you helped and those who have walked around today and helped today. So to start our very first program for our Be There event, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Baggett's Executive Director, Mindy Griffith. I have to say a few words though. Mindy took over in 2017 as Sherry, our founder, started her retirement. I know there's going to be a few chuckles out there because we all know Sherry and retirement don't mix. But anyways, with her guidance, Baggett has continued Sherry's mission to educate, support, and empower all those impacted by cancer. So here we are. Mindy's going to start our program. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. There we go. I'm pretty loud, so I don't always need that. So get situated. Lisa didn't turn the page over because she had her own special mix. So welcome again, and thank you all for joining us today as we raise funds to help provide Baggett bags to guide people through their cancer. You are all making a difference by joining us here today. It's a little bit different, those of you that have attended Take a Hike over the years or been in different places, so we appreciate you going with the change and mixing things up a little bit. So we have a great program this morning, highlighting all that we have accomplished this past year, honoring some amazing individuals and groups, sharing our goals, celebrating being together again, which is really nice, and raising some money. All right, so I want to start out with recognizing our sponsors. So none of this is possible without the great support of our sponsors. Many of them are here today, and many of them have been supporting Baggett since the first event in 2003. So woohoo! A big shout out, and you guys can, I know many of you are here, to some of our returning sponsors. Heinfeld Meach, and they have a group back there. The Arvizi family, Tucson Glass and Mirror, Glass Tech Industries, Radiology Limited, Roosing Lopez and Lazardi, Watson Chevrolet, Commerce Bank of America, Primerica, I put those together, Zuckerman Community Empowerment Fund. And a big welcome and thank you to our 2 new sponsors this year, Tucson Plastic Surgery, and Trust Insurance. So as always, we are very appreciative, and it's wonderful to see all these great faces, so thank you. We also are very fortunate to have a dynamic group of individuals leading and guiding our organization. Our board of directors meets quarterly and also for monthly committee meetings to help provide ideas, insight, and guidance to ensure that we are fulfilling our mission to educate, support, and empower those impacted by cancer. Many of our board members are with us today, so please just raise your hand so that we can recognize and acknowledge you. And a huge thank you to all of you for giving your time. We have our chair, Michelle Bonito. I don't know if Mickey came in. I didn't see him. Our treasurer, Mickey Gomez. Melinda Montel and Katie Clark up here in front with their beautiful little ones. And Matt Nelson, who I knew couldn't join us today. In addition, we have an advisory board, and this is a board that meets twice a year, and this is full of individuals that are a little bit more on the health expert side, medical, as well as survivors. So kind of just to help keep us up to date on what's happening in the oncology field to make sure that the information that we're providing is relevant and relatable. Now, we can't forget the rest of the amazing team doing the day-to-day work of Bagot. So you've met Lisa, and a huge thank you and shout out to her and all that she does as our volunteer and event coordinator. And then we have, who you might be missing, and I know a couple of you have asked, so our amazing founder, Sherry. So Sherry was exposed to COVID this week, and with an abundance of caution for all of you, because she knew she couldn't resist giving hugs to each and every one of you, and the recommendation of her primary care, she opted to stay home and watch us virtually. So let's all give a huge shout out and a hi to Sherry. She's there. We miss you, Sherry, and as you can all imagine, she's been, at the hike in the event since 2003. So we know this is really hard for her. So we miss you. Joyce, our program coordinator, who really oversees the content in the bags, works a lot with the medical providers, and getting the bags into people's hands and making the connections and the content. So thank you, Joyce. Hiding back there. All right, we met Lisa, and again, great work on getting us all here today and coordinating the event. Along with Amy, our program assistant. Amy works on the inventories, the orders, which can sometimes be kind of crazy, which is a good thing or a bad thing, depends on how we look at it, as well as helps us anywhere and everywhere we all need. So many of us would be going insane, myself often included, if Amy wasn't there to help us out with everything. So thank you, Amy. And to keep it interesting, we added another Amy to our team this year. So we have an Amy as a public ally with the AmeriCorps program, and she's over here behind the scenes today, and is helping us with some of our goals of working on a Native American bag and making our Spanish bag a little bit more culturally relevant. So we're very excited to have her on board with us this year. And in case she's watching, and because many of you know, Anitra has worked with Bagot for 11 years, and she just this last month, I think her last big thing was doing the brochure that you received in the mail for the Be There event. But she is venturing out and doing her own fitness classes and everything, and being a mom and all of that. So she has stepped down from working with Bagot after 11 years, so we miss her. All right, that is the amazing team, and along with the volunteers and the sponsors and the board and everybody here. So thank you to all of you for everything you do. So last year, to enhance our recognition of all those who support Bagot day to day and year after year, we decided to follow the trend of many other organizations with their events and honor a few key partners every year. So last year was our first year doing that, and since it was virtual, we didn't get to give a full round of acknowledgement and applause to our inaugural, it's a big word on a Sunday morning, recipient. So we just wanted to do a little bit of that today. So for a healthcare provider, we are so appreciative of our partnership with Arizona Oncology for their partnership with Bagot from the very beginning. So thank you, Arizona Oncology. I know Katie's here and a few other people are there, so we appreciate them. A huge thank you to our corporate sponsor last year, Heinfeld Meach, for sponsoring Bagot since 2003. So we are appreciative of all that they do for us. And then we have, Anne, where are you? Our Spirit of Philanthropy last year. So for the last 17 years, Anne Camarado has made a huge impact on Bagot. We're honored to have her here as part of our team. Many of you probably met her as you were coming in today at registration. So thank you, Anne. And these people, see, they continue to still be here working. So our outstanding volunteers, Sandra, give us a wave before you go back to doing raffle. And Sandra also goes back to the very beginning days of Bagot and has generously given many hours of volunteering as well. So thank you. There's a little bit more about each of them in the program as well, and you can see more of what they've done for us over the years. So thank you to our inaugural honorees. All right, I am going to turn it over to Amy for a little some prizes and some Q&A. So let's see what everyone can do if you've been paying attention.
Good morning.
I didn't want to. It's an obstacle. It is an obstacle.
I'm really, like Mindy thinks she's loud, but I'm really loud, so if I'm screaming at you, just let me know. You may have noticed as you were walking around today, there were some little signs and frames that had cancer statistics on them. I'm going to throw out some questions, and some of you are probably right now looking because there's some near your tables, and you're like, oh, I might have that answer real quick here, right? But I'm going to throw out some questions, and if you can answer them, Lisa's going to have a prize for you. So make sure to not just yell, because we probably won't have any idea who won, but if you can raise a hand, maybe we'll figure it out. All right, first question. How many types of cancer are associated with obesity? Oh, I saw that hand first. 13. You are correct. The sign is right next to her. So, but that's all in where you sit. All right. How many chemicals in tobacco are known to cause cancer? I love this is what we see. Everybody, where's that sign? It is 69. Yes. That is how many chemicals in tobacco. And there was, I believe it's 7,000 chemicals in tobacco, and 69 are known to cause cancer. How many Bagot bags have been given out since 2003? And? Close. I heard it somewhere. 86,000 bags. Actually, it's over 86,000 bags, but I wasn't counting how many this week, just so you know. What is the most common cancer in the U.S.? Skin cancer. Yes, Lisa, right up here. Look who knew that. All right, I'm passing it back to Mindy. We'll have some more later, so you might look around.
All right. So again, we're here to educate, support, and empower all of you impacted by cancer. So little education for your Sunday morning. All right. So now let's unpack Bagot. So one of the things that we are doing with this event, changing it up from the hike, is incorporating an event we've done the last couple years in the spring to just kind of give you a state of Bagot and give you some information about what we're doing. So I'd like to bring all of you, our Bagot ambassadors, up to date on what we're doing so that you can continue to support us and be ambassadors in the community around you. So this past year, and there are some annual reports fresh off the press this week on your table, but this past year, despite COVID, we really accomplished a lot, thanks to your support and all that you do. So the board and the staff worked together on a new strategic plan. Our first 3 goals are similar to the past: getting bags into people's hands, kind of important, a lot of what we do. Advocacy, and so expanding our advocate network. So many of you might be familiar with the leadership conference that we do, which is where Sherry's pseudo-retirement went, the Escape to Thrive Leadership Conference that's for cancer advocates across the country. And also advocating for all populations. So we want to make sure that, as many of you know or might not know, cancer impacts everyone differently, right? And so we want to make sure that everybody, regardless of their race, their ethnicity, their ability, their reading literacy level, their health literacy, their socioeconomic status, that they are getting the information that they need to get their best quality of care. So we want to make sure that what we have in the Bagot bag allows them to do that. That self-advocacy is goal 3, is to empower those individuals to do that. That's a lot of what the Bagot bag is. It's giving you the information so that you are more comfortable and confident to speak up for yourself, to ensure that you are having the best quality of life during or after your cancer treatment. Goal 4 and 5, a little bit different this year. Goal 4 is for development and fundraising. So we really need to make sure that we are solidifying a solid plan of funding so that we can continue to be sustainable as an organization going forward. And goal 5 is creating a marketing campaign to get the word out about Bagot. So yes, we are very strong here in Southern Arizona and in Phoenix and in Northern Arizona and throughout the state. But we also have had many requests and have started the last couple years expanding Bagot across the country. And so we want to let people know that that's available as we work with medical providers as well as individuals to let them know that that option is there. We expanded our longtime partnership with Arizona Oncology to actually have a customized Arizona Oncology bag. And so They are part of and I won't remember what it stands for, COPE certified practice, qualified oncology practice, something, I don't know. Anyhow, there's about 300 of them across the country. That's why we use acronyms, so we don't have to remember what things stand for. And we put together a bag that is a Bagot bag, but it had the additional pieces that they are required to have for the certification in the bag, but then they also wanted to supplement it with all the additional reliable information that the bag offers. So that's pretty exciting. We just launched that in July, so we're very excited about that and hope to use that as we work with other medical providers. We also are now doing cancer-specific bags. So that drives, Beacon crazy and Amy crazy and Excel crazy and all the people that support us to mix it up and add a few more challenges to our plate. But we have 6 cancer-specific bags that we do. And they're, again, a Bagot bag, but they have an additional section that is specific introduction to cancer types. So it talks about some treatments, some side effects, questions, as well as introduces people to other partner organizations. We just added lung cancer, which is Lung Cancer Awareness Month, and so we've partnered with Go-To Foundation for Lung Cancer. So they're providing the content, they're the experts in that area, but then we're getting those out to medical providers, so now they're also being introduced to a support organization that might work with them. And we just this week, I think, just got out our first set of metastatic breast cancer bags. So that one has definitely been a challenge. So very excited about all of those. We've been very busy. We have Amy, our new public ally from AmeriCorps, so changing things up and trying that partnership out. We have changed up our annual fundraiser. So here we are. Many of you have been to Take a Hike for years and years. Last year, we obviously didn't get to do that, and we did a Get Moving and a lot of virtual activities. And this year, not knowing what was going to happen, we kind of wanted to make sure we still had something outside, because that's a lot of who we are. And an opportunity to meet and gather and give you a little bit more about what Bagot does. So it's a little bit more formal in this sense, but still having that opportunity to be outside. So thank you all for going with the flow and changing things up with us. We appreciate it. And we found a way to honor our partners. So we started that tradition, as I previously said. And to kick off this year's honorees, I'd like to recognize a wonderful corporate partner, Roche Diagnostics. Not only has Roche provided financial support to Bagot for years, including matching funds for the workplace donations that many of their employees make, but we have a number of amazing volunteers who have helped Bagot throughout the year in a variety of ways. So a huge thank you to Roche for working to find cures for cancer and for all that you do for Bagot. I'd like to invite Martha Baker, a Roche employee and Bagot volunteer, up to share a few words.
Hi, I do work for Roche, and many of you know it has been town of medical systems up in Oro Valley, and I am here with quite a number of volunteers from Roche. And I'd like to say a few words for Roche from Darlene, who is our community engagement lead for the U.S. Diagnostics sites for Roche. She was just out of town this weekend, so she wasn't able to talk to you today. But it's been close to a decade since Roche and Bagot began their partnership, and it's incredible to see how this nonprofit has grown to match the needs of Arizona patients. Over the years, we've attended their annual fundraisers and patient advocacy conferences, and each time left reminded of the importance of their educational tools to ease the patient burden during trying times. We were very excited to see the expansion of the bag in Spanish as a game-changing step towards equal patient access to cancer education, testing, diagnosis, and treatment. This year, we were so excited to hear about the Bagot bags focused specifically on a cancer subtype, so patients are confident that they are receiving information specific to their disease. So those personalized bags are helping Roche on their personalized healthcare journey. So we want to thank you to Bagot very much. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Martha, and the Roche members that are here and all their support over time. Roche is also the recipient of the Outstanding Corporate Philanthropist Award from the Association of Fundraising Professionals of Southern Arizona's National Philanthropy Day. And so this Friday, that event will be airing virtually, and we were very excited to recognize them. Some of you may have seen that in Tucson Lifestyles, and so Anne and I got to be part of the picture with Roche. So we're very excited. So thank you, Roche, for all that you do for us. Okay, so moving on. That's just a little bit of accomplishments. There's more in the annual report, but just kind of some of the highlights of a lot that we've done over the past year. And obviously those don't all just happen from day one, right? They take a little bit more time than the past year. As we look forward, feel free to take an annual report to read more about those. But as we continue to reach our targets of our new strategic plan, we hope that you will continue to engage with us. In addition to marketing and raising additional funds to ensure that everyone can have a Bagot bag available to them, we are going to work on these specific goals over the next year. A culturally sensitive Spanish bag. So over the years, we've been really excited about the fact that the Spanish bag is exactly like the English bag, which is very helpful if you have a caregiver or a medical provider that is speaking English, that you can kind of directly have a similar conversation. But we also recognize that there are some differences in how people that are Spanish speaking might recognize things. I recently just learned the term that is the translation that is typically there for clinical trials translates to experiments. And so many individuals, if you're Spanish speaking, you're not necessarily jumping on board on that. And we obviously want people involved in clinical trials. So looking at wording like that, as well as making sure that we have representative pictures so that people can really feel that. There are not a lot of great Spanish resources out there. So we are very proud of what Bagot offers and want to make sure that it's valuable to people. We also, and if you've attended Unpacking the last few years, you've heard us say this, but it's really, really going to happen thanks to Amy and Joyce and being able to visit and work with people again, but are going to work on doing a Native American bag. And so again, a lot of cultural differences there in the way that the resources they might have, how they utilize the family and the community and the food. And so we want to make sure that the information is accessible and makes them want to read the bag so that they do speak up for themselves and understand that it's okay and important to be their own best advocate. The Escape to Thrive 10th Anniversary Leadership Conference and Celebration was supposed to happen in January. Obviously that wasn't going to happen. It was going to happen in October, but we have now pushed it to May. So that conference is many advocates, so people that are survivors themselves, many of them in active treatment still, so we really needed to be very careful. It's not a conference that is designed to go virtual. The purpose of the conference is really intent on being in person, and so we did a lot of surveying and really made a concentrated effort so we could have this 10th anniversary celebration. So we're looking forward to that. And then I talked about promoting self-advocacy. So self-advocacy is really the ability to communicate your needs and to make informed decisions about the kinds of help and support that you want. You know your body the best, right? And the doctors are there, and we need them because they know the treatments and they know that side of it. But you're all part of a team, and you need to work together and provide all that information. So we want to really promote that, not only just in cancer, but just in general in our healthcare, right? When we all go to the doctor, we're supposed to tell the doctor those cigarettes that you're all going to stop smoking if you're still smoking them, how many you actually have, because you don't want the doctor to yell at you. But they need to know that because they need to understand your lifestyle and what you want. So we just created this little, the former teacher in me, a little mnemonic to help you remember some of the tips. So here's a little education for the day to take your Bagot and be your own best self-advocate. To be prepared, assert yourself, gather information, inform the doctor, and take an active role. So there's more on that in detail, but those are just kind of some little tips when you're going into the doctor to give that information. And then also we want to get bags into the hands of more people to help them be able to be comfortable advocating for themselves during and after their cancer treatment. And that's really, that's what Bagot's been about from the beginning, and that's what the Bagot bag does. It gives them those tools. We all know that, however cheesy it might sound, we all know that knowledge is power. And we know that when we understand something and we have the information, we are more comfortable asking questions and speaking up for it. And so that's what we want to make sure is that people have those tools to be able to do that in their back pocket. So those are our accomplishments and goals as we just kind of move along and continue to do that. And again, with all of your support is how that all happens. All right, back to some more fun. More facts. I hope you've all been, going to get some coffee or whatever so you can know all the answers.
And Lisa has some more prizes ready to go. These, you will notice, are all going to be tied to our cancer-specific bags. So you'll hear a fact and you can know that we have a bag that's somehow tied to that fact. So, first question, what is the percentage of new breast cancer cases that are initially stage 4 or metastatic? Andy, I saw your hand first. No, you're passing it off. Okay. 6 to 10%. You are correct. Woo.
Oh, I gotta go all the way
You got to go all the way to the back. Look at you getting your steps in today, because you haven't gotten any up till now. So now someone has to answer way in the front so we can get Lisa all over the place, right? That's what it's all about. All right. Which cancer is the leading cause of cancer death worldwide? Back row. All right. Lung cancer. You are correct. Back to that tobacco fact, right? So, who is at higher risk for being diagnosed with CLL, men or women?
Women.
Well, anyone else want to answer? You got a 50-50 shot. All right, good job. It is men.
That's good news for me.
That's all right, Arlene, because we heard you.
Well, I'm like you, Amy.
You are. What percentage of new cancers diagnosed each year will be stomach cancer? 1.5%. All right. No, wait, Lisa, you still got a lunchbox in your hand to give away. How many types of NPN are there? And don't ask me what that stands for either. It takes me forever. 7. Correct. All right. Good job, everybody. Miss Mindy, are we back to you?
No, we're back to Lisa
We're
now.
back to Lisa, but she's got to deliver a lunchbox. So this is where I just do a jig. And at least the last question was halfway up. So,
Well, we have an extra
got her a little
special,
closer.
sorry, Amy, surprise guest. So, a founding board member, Dr. Don Brooks from Arizona Oncology. So,
Thank you all for being here.
who continues to be on our advisory board I spoke about. So, he just popped by to say hi briefly before going back to work. Bye.
No.
Dr. Brooks, thank you for all you've done in the past and continue to do for Bagot. So thank you for stopping by. We appreciate you. Now we have a very special guest that's coming forward. She's going to share a story with you. It's heartfelt, and her connection to Bagot is quite important to us as it wasn't to her. So I would like to introduce you to Jenna Finfrost to come up and say a few words.
Good morning. Can you all hear me okay? Well, this has been such a lovely morning. I have to say, this venue is just beautiful, and it's great to be with so many people here that are passionate and dedicated to committing such an important cause that we see in Bagot. So, like I'm sure almost everyone in this area, my life has been profoundly and dramatically impacted by cancer. First and foremost, when my father was diagnosed with advanced stage 4 multiple myeloma in 2009, I was en route to go to graduate school at the University of Washington. I had absolutely no desire to live in Arizona again. I'm from Phoenix. And I had my 5-year plan with bullet points and sub-bullet points, and I was enrolled in graduate school. I was going to move from Washington, D.C. When I got the phone call that my dad was being tested for cancer. So I ended up very rapidly getting on a plane with a suitcase for a long weekend, and I've been here for 12 years ever since. So my father, yes, was able to come through his diagnosis with stem cell treatment and radiation and chemotherapy, and I went from being a Capitol Hill staffer to a full-time caretaker of 7 months. And I had joked with a friend that I was only here in Tucson to take care of my dad. As soon as he got through cancer treatment, I would get back to my programming that I was going to start in Seattle. And I joked, I said, it's not like I'm going to meet the love of my life in Tucson. Phoenix and me coming out a little bit, if you'll forgive that. I met my husband a month later. So I have been here ever since. More recently, I would like to just touch on how I came to know and become familiar with Bagot. My introduction to Bagot was on a personal level, actually with Mindy. So Mindy and I met in the Greater Tucson Leadership class in 2017. And we became really good friends and joined a book club, and we've been really good friends ever since. But when she was talking about Bagot and Bagot's mission, I remember thinking at the time, gosh, I really wish I had had that resource when my dad was diagnosed. And I can see some heads nodding. I remember being terrified and numb and paralyzed as I'm trying to Google. I didn't know how to spell multiple myeloma. I didn't know what that was. And I had like tabs on my laptop, and I would just try to find any organization that I could find that would explain to me what his cancer was and what these treatments meant. And so when, all these years later, fast forward, when Mindy is telling me about Bagot, I thought, gosh, it's such a powerful resource, and I really wish I had had that as a caretaker. So when we wrapped up our class, I said to Mindy, I'd really like to serve on a board. I come from a nonprofit background. I love nonprofits. I'd like to give back a little bit. I have 2 young children, so I can't give a lot of money, but I can give some time. And so I joined the board, and it was just a really great experience. I learned a lot on how to be a board member, how to support Bagot. But I wasn't prepared for needing the bag. I really wanted to support the mission of Bagot. But I think we all know it's bittersweet when you need the bag, because of course that means you have a diagnosis. And in 2019, my cousin, who is one of my very best friends, we're the same age, and in 2019 she was diagnosed with an advanced and aggressive form of breast cancer at the age of 38. She had 2 young boys, and so again my world was rocked, and I just didn't think it was possible for someone my age. She's healthy, she takes care of herself, she's married to a doctor, and yet here she is about to undergo, I believe it was 18 months of very intensive treatment. And so the first thing I did was, I thought of Bagot. Like, I've got to get this to my cousin. And so I did, and it was just one small thing that I could do. But I think for so many of us, when you have a loved one that's diagnosed with cancer, there's so many fears. There's all these emotions and fears, and in some of that you feel helpless. Like, what can I do? I couldn't go to the chemotherapy treatment for her, but I could get her this bag, and I could let her know that there are people that, there's resources there, there's information for her. And so that was in 2019. And then again in July 2020, kind of ironically, almost to the anniversary of my dad's diagnosis, my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. And thankfully it was stage 1. But of course, when I got the call, I immediately started crying. And I just thought, not my mom. I can't go through another cancer diagnosis with a parent. And it was terrifying. And thankfully, we did catch it at stage 1. And so I know there are so many people that have had to go on through many more treatments. And we were fortunate that we were able to catch it early. But that fear is still gripping. Stage 1 or not, it's a scary thing, especially when it's your loved one and your parent. And so, I ordered Bagot. Actually, I take that back. I did order a Bagot bag, but because I had a Bagot bag from being on the board, the very first thing I did is I drove to my mom's with the bag. And I started crying, but I said, Mom, we got to go through this. I've got it right here. And I think there's something so tangible about being able to sit down with a loved one and open the bag and go through the binder and flip through it together. And for my mom, I just thought, well, of course we were, afraid and we didn't know what was coming. There was also this sense that you're not alone, that you have this binder. There's the welcome from Sherry. And I think there's something really powerful about that initial message. And I saw my mom kind of stop spinning, and we just focused. We got centered. We came up with a plan. We started, I'm a note taker. I'm a journalism major. So for me, I don't do anything electronic. I'm old school. So I want to take notes. I want the appointments in the binder. I want to know what's coming. And for my mom, it was really helpful for her to stay organized. And so when we had that initial phone call with her oncologist, I couldn't go with her because, of course, 2020, it's COVID, right? So not only is it hard to see a loved one go through this, but I can't be in the room, and I want to be in the room. I want to be there with my mom. And so my mom's figuring out how to three-way with me and her husband and the nurse, and thankfully they were all very patient. We're on speakerphone. But I had my Bagot binder, and I was taking notes, and so I could give it to my mom. Mom, put your notes in here so that we can compare. And of course, when you're meeting with oncologists, that there's terms and there's vocabulary that you don't understand. I had to go back and spell check. What was that medication? But I had it in front of me, and I think there's something that's just not only practical and useful, but it's comforting. And I'm very grateful that we had Bagot for my mom to stay organized. Her husband, we could compare notes, and so I'm very grateful that we had that as a tool. It really is, to me, it was the tool that I needed to move us forward as she went through treatment. And I'm very happy to say she's doing very well. She finished her round of treatment, and now she's on her hormone therapy. And thank you so much. Yes, I'm very grateful for that, and I'm very grateful for the support of Bagot, because I think it's difficult to talk about cancer without getting emotional, because we're all impacted by it. And so I would like to just say, from a daughter's perspective, from a friend's perspective, from a cousin's perspective, Bagot gives us a chance to support the people we love, even if we're not with them, even if they're out of state, or if they're, as Mindy said, I mean, we can send Bagot anywhere in the country, and I think that's just such a gift that we can give those that we love when their world is shaking and our world is shaking. And so I just would be remiss, of course, if I didn't all encourage you to look in your program. There's the Zuckerman Community Empowerment Fund. There's a $5,000 matching gift. I mean, that's fantastic. So if you have a moment, if you haven't already, please do consider giving to this. I know that there's a little handy-dandy QR code. For those of you that have your smartphones, you can text it. If you're old school like me, you can also just write a check, because I know that there's rebate envelopes on the table. But, more than anything, I just want to say thank you for everyone for coming out this morning. It's because of you. It's because of your support. And I think we can all support Bagot's mission in our own way. And in doing so, we can support those that we love and those that we may never meet them. But knowing that they get a bag, we just hope that they feel that sense of comfort and security, and that they're not alone either when they go through their journey with their cancer diagnosis and treatment. So I just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you, Mindy.
Thank you. So, thank you so much, Jenna. And one of the hardest things, I think, for me and for many of our volunteers and even our team is we don't have a lot of direct connection with people that receive Bagot bags, right? So a lot of them receive them from their medical providers, or we might send them to someone. You might order one and send it to someone across the country. So we don't get to hear a lot of the stories of the impact that we make. And we know that storytelling is key, right? That's the buzzword. That's what we hear in the world of nonprofits. And what we do is to hear the impact that you're making. And so we appreciate you taking the time to share your story, Jenna, so that we could all have a little bit more of that. I know there's many stories out there, so feel free to talk at your tables or as you walk through the gardens today and share some of those stories with you. All right, I'm glad this was such a good resource for you, and I know it has been for many of us here in the room. So I want to go back to our last few honorees for this year. So we recognized Roche as our outstanding corporate partner, and this year then we want to look at our outstanding volunteer. So Natalie, if you could kind of make your way up here. Natalie has been volunteering for Bagot for years, from taking pictures as a trail setter, you might have seen her on the hikes, to helping with miscellaneous office projects. And we can always count on Natalie to help step up, to help us with whatever we need. As you step up, that's pretty good timing, wasn't it? I planned that perfectly. So anyhow, Natalie was just going to share a few words with us, I think.
Thank you very much to Bagot. I really enjoyed volunteering, and Bagot's a terrific organization. When you volunteer, you can really see that it's really impacting people. So many times if you volunteer for something that's way far away, or you can't see something that's affecting somebody. So it's a great organization. I encourage any of you that need to do some volunteer work, it's the perfect place.
Thank you. Thanks, Natalie.
And we do think about having like fancy plaques and things like that, but we also know the people that we're honoring, and we know that they would be mad at us if we had done that, because we already get in trouble when we send them thank you cards too often. And so we opted not to do that. We've considered it and thought about it, but we also know that they know how much we appreciate them, and we want to recognize them that way as opposed to giving them something to do that. Our last honoree is the Spirit of Philanthropy Award. And this goes to Darlene Brady, who has been giving her time, talents, and treasures to Bagot for over 10 years. She has been a board member, still serving on the Internal Affairs Board Committee, volunteering for a variety of projects, attending events, making donations, and being a great ambassador for Bagot. So thank you, Darlene, for all that you do for us.
This is such a great honor. I'm just really blessed to work with Bagot. I can't say enough. And everyone who's spoken has said things I would say. is a great organization. Everyone who volunteers, works, or is even connected anyway is just so enthusiastic and committed. It just warms my heart. So thank you all for being here. It's an honor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. With something new, it's a great way to connect and recognize the people that have supported us for years. So we are glad that we could do that. So before I invite Lisa back up here, are there any questions about anything? I mean, if I can't answer it, I'll make something up. So, feel free to ask. Is my football team going to win today? Probably not. The Cleveland Browns, so, there's that. Oh, perfect. I know, it's sad. So, any random questions about anything? Yes. Okay, so the question was about bags for children. We've talked about doing a pediatric specific bag for a number of years and have gone back and forth on it. There are actually, different than many adults, there are a lot of great resources for children, and a lot of the hospitals, when a child is diagnosed, give a lot more resources out to parents that they have. So we have not ventured that route. What we do talk about is, as a caregiver, a parent using a bag for their child, because we know that the information in the bag, unfortunately, right, you need to keep it for life. I think Sherry tells us she's on her 5th binder, I think, that you want to have those records. And so we want to encourage parents to even use a bag and have that organization for your child who, when they're younger, let's be real, as kids, we're not paying attention to that stuff sometimes. And once we're better, we forget about it. And even parents, fortunately, we can kind of put that aside. But it is information that you need down the road. So we have not done a specific pediatric bag for that reason, because the hospitals are doing a lot of that. Yes, and in the bags, a lot of times we hear over and over, like Jenna said, that caregivers are the ones that are using that information, because as a patient, as an individual, you're overwhelmed and you're looking at it at different times with bits and pieces. So. Thank you. Anything else? Well, again, I am going to turn it over to Lisa to wrap things up, but I want to thank you all for being here and hope to get a chance to chat with all of you. And we really appreciate all that you do for Bagot and your support by just being here and being present. So have a wonderful day. And huge shout out to Lisa and the volunteers and their team for a wonderful event here. So thank
you. Well, I know this is the moment you're all been waiting for, because it's time to pick our raffle winner. So if Amy could bring these up, we're going to do the top 3 prizes. That is Maryville, Amazon, and Westward Book.
I'm going to throw something out real quick before we do this raffle. As you heard today while Jenna was speaking, testimonials make a huge impact for us. So if you've ever received a bag, whether as a caregiver, whether you've sent one to a family member and why you chose to do that, whether you received one as a survivor, if you could give us a testimonial, it would be great. We could use some about today's events too. So you can find me or Mindy and we'll record something on our phone. You can handwrite something. You can email us. If you're online right now, you can email us, info@bagotcancer.org. Because again, those make a huge difference. You can do it anonymously if you want, or if you're willing to let us use your name and send us a picture, fabulous. All right, I just wanted to throw that out there because, we had the moment to advertise. All right. This bucket is heavy, y'all, so thank you. I just got to say, that's awesome, the support we've received. And I'm going to dig, and I'm going to dig. I'm going to the bottom, and I'm throwing it to the top. I'm going to throw them totally out of the bucket, and then we're going to have to find them again. All right. Woo. Chris Heinfeld. Woo! That is our first place winner for Mirabal. Woo! So all you who tried to bribe me before the event, sorry. Just kidding. You can actually see, who are we sending them to our raffle, to Sandra? Yes. Okay, we're going to see Sandra. There we go. I'm so organized right now. Who are we going to? Like, you win, but good luck with that. All right. Our second place winner for the $500 Amazon gift card, Troy and Marty Reamer. Woo! microphone, huh? Did I just like deafen everybody? All right. Third place is Wyndham Westward Resort. Linda Moores. All right.
I feel like we're doing a tag team.
We are doing a tag team.
Alrighty, well, that wraps up our event for today. So our people that are virtual, we thank you so much for tuning in, and we really appreciate you being here today. Bye-bye.